Welcome to another episode of Angels, Positivity and Love. Incredible guests the world over with amazing insights. Most of the time, our guests have had some sort of inner transformative experience, and it's part of their journey, part of the journey that we all have in life to allow more, share more love. And oftentimes, they've chosen to give service to others. We've had New York Times or Amazon international bestselling authors, Pam Grout, um, uh, many other famous folks, healers from all different walks of life, 25 different countries represented, a White House physician to the US president, the youngest Delta Force operator ever to join Delta Force, studied naturopathy on the side, an Oprah Super Soul Sunday guest, and many others. We're now booked past 300 episodes, almost into December of 2025. That's pretty exciting. That's a whole year out. Today, coming to us from California is a healer, herbalist, mystic, guide in many other ways. She's super connected to the earth. She's just super vibrant. I think you're going to figure this out on the show very quickly. We've got Mila Todorova coming to us. Again, super colorful, high energy, and I'm excited to have her on Angels, Positivity, and Love. Mila, welcome to the show.
Mm, Thank you, Michael. It's a joy to be here with you.
Okay, look, you've been doing this a while and you've got a special connection. Call it to nature, call it to the divine, the masculine, feminine, call it to the universe. Why don't you tell us sort of where you are today, but then if you could go back, when did you start figuring out you were connected and sort of interconnected to everything? And then when did you run away from it? When did you fully embrace it?
Mm, oof. So that's a journey. There's so many little moments in time that are starting to just pop up in my awareness. Well, let's start when I was little. When I was a little girl, my first awareness of connection to the infinite, to the divine, to the so-called magical, mysterious unseen realms, you can call them, was when I would usually be at night in bed and I kept seeing fairies by my window. I can't remember if I was already reading Peter Pan, that I was just so fascinated by it, but I just remember this presence coming to me at night. And I was just in this in between sleep and awake, and often I would just be aware of these sparkling beings around my window. And yeah, the nighttime was very mystical for me. It was just otherworldly. And as I started growing up, I realized for a long time I suppressed these things. I didn't really share them with my family. I didn't have the space to do so. And it wasn't until I was about 17, 18, where I had these deep, profound experiences in the desert and through meditation, when I started doing meditation and going deeper into my own inner world. And that I started remembering that there's just so much more beyond just what the eyes see in the physical. And I started listening deeper and deeper to, and then I started seeing these. I remember for a while I was even seeing like patterns on the outside where I can almost foresee something that will happen, or a person will walk by me, or and it's almost like I'll see it before it happens, and then it will happen, and there'll be just this. I wouldn't even call it a deja vu. I don't know what to call it. It was just like a very much almost like realities or multidimensional things collapsing at the same time. And it was in my late 20s where I went to this Gaia School of Healing, which now I think it's called School of the Sacred Wild in Topanga in California, and with my dear teacher Marisha Mirnowska, and we'll sit in a circle and we'll meditate with different plants, with different herbs, wild herbs. We'll sit, we'll welcome the plant spirit, because every plant carries a spirit, a different energy, a different, it's like a little being. And we'll welcome it, we'll sit with it, we'll drink our tea. It'll be a deep, mystical, shamanic journey within, and then we'll journal and we'll share with each other. And there'll be so many similarities within the circle of people, of maybe a feeling they're experiencing or a vision of it, or where they can feel it in their body. So it's just this connection with nature, with the the world of energy and spirit realms, but also our own bodies, meaning there was just this bridge between the mystical and the physical where, okay, we're inviting this spirit, but we're also very aware of our body, of our energy centers, our chakras, where can we feel it? So this was a really profound awakening experience of me that just took me so much deeper into my own body and awareness and communication with my own body, and while also with the earth body, with nature, with just the listening, like deeper listening of sitting with a plant or with a tree, sitting with my own body, with my own emotions, and really bridging that connection and just there's like a whole universe in here that wants to be explored and tapped in, and nature to me and the earth is one of the greatest sources for that. It's just it can be so simple and subtle and so profound and deep. um and yes, I've had many experiences sitting with also plant medicine, the really meditation, movement. I love to dance, yoga, just anything that really brings me in the body, breath work, being in the breath. So I'm constantly like having this deep awareness again with my body. Like I'm constantly like watching if I'm breathing properly. I'm the observer of my energy, where it's going, how it's flowing, what it's moving. So I feel in a way I'm very much living in this inner meditative state constantly, even though I'm very engaged with the world and the awareness. But there's a constant like a watcher and observer and anchor here. And yeah, I would say that the plants, again, nature, and just traveling and being to different places and just sitting in nature has really brought this more of this sense of wonder and magic in my life, more of that childlike little girl that at some point I kind of suppressed along the way. And she feels way more alive now because I really had allowed her to play more and enjoy more and talk to a flower or listen to a flower. And even though my vision, I don't really see fairies yet. Again, I do sense and feel like I'm very much in the senses and feeling um, of of that they are different energies and beings around me. And I love my solitude as much as I love being in community and others. But like in my times of solitude, I also don't ever feel alone. It's just so beautiful to through the journey of feeling so alone and feeling so not belonging in this world, and kind of like, why am I even here? What's the purpose of this? To like coming on the other side of so deeply, profoundly connected to life and to the magic and wonder. And I still feel like I'm just scratching the surface. I feel there's just so much to explore as I get to explore myself more, my inner realms. Then it gets to be revealed also on the outside through my experiences, and it just really makes this journey more of a dreamlike quality, I suppose.
I love it. Maybe you could talk to us about today, how you're helping folks before we jump back along the way. And if you could share one or two more of those experiences. You were in the jungles, on the beach, you were in the desert, or it was as a kid or child in bed. A couple of more of those memories could be just awesome to share with the audience. But today, what are you doing for folks? How has it been shifting? Where do you think you might be going in the next couple of years?
It's constantly shifting because I feel like I'm constantly changing, and as I change and grow and heal, my work and service naturally changes. I feel there's like a correlation of what I am working on within myself, going to these next levels, that there's an extension then of then supporting others, and maybe they're somewhere where I used to be and then bringing them to the level that I am now. But I am also learning as they are learning about themselves. It's just a kind of almost like a different stages and levels maybe of awareness. So the way it's growing, like I began with like working with women first, and very much like womb work and womb, like getting the woman really deep in her womb, because this is like a center that we hold so much. It's like the cauldron of life and existence and creation, and there's emotions stored there. There's so much. This was like where I began kind of my journey, because it was through my own healing and then through going through the different chakras. So very much body awareness, feeling, sensation awareness, healing through the body, healing through the energy centers. I still do this with women, but slowly started transitioning also with like group work. And I noticed in the last year, actually like 90% of my one-on-one clients have been men. And in my own journey, I've been really coming to balance my yin and my yang, my feminine and my masculine energetics within me, and like really being my own mother, being my own father. Like, what does that mean? What are the qualities that express through that, the healthy qualities? So I had to like teach myself, learn myself, because I haven't really had too many examples. And yeah, it's been interesting because I've worked with a lot of men in the last year, as well as I was doing group work, and I just see it on in the collective level. What is occurring is just in men and in women both, this this deep need to come into more balance and harmony with the feminine energy, which the feminine energy, some qualities for me are this more receptiveness, allowance to receive from life, to surrender, to let go of the mind, to let go of control, to be more in a nurturing, self-love place of abiding as an anchor in life, like that, to be the anchor, like the beingness, like the true beingness, because we are human beings, we're not human doings. And then once we're anchored in that beingness, the doing comes from like an effortless place. Like I love the Taoist teachings of the effortless way. The Tao is effortless, meaning we don't need to force or push ourselves in the world to make things happen. There is a deeper wisdom and remembrance that when we're anchored in this space of beingness, meaning so deeply connected with, you can call it with the divine or with our soul, with our higher self, which is like more easeful, peaceful, equanimous, feeling good in the body, feeling relaxed, like an ultimate relaxation, like on all levels. The nervous system in most human beings, it's so just wired and jittery that there is like a deep need for rebalancing of the nervous system, which then brings a deeper relaxation, mind, body, spirit, like holistic, all levels. And when we're in that state of relaxation and beingness, then we get to be inspired, meaning like in spirit. We get to then act, we get to create, we're motivated from a different place to bring our service or creation or our purpose in the world. And I think that is like such a core thing that now my work is really evolving into. And I just had a vision the other day that I meant to do like a whole men's group actually, and lead a men's group, and like, okay, spirit, this is gonna be my edge. And it makes such a perfect sense to like more of a feminine archetype to hold the masculine, to relax for the masculine to be even in their own inner feminine. And I see the correlation with like the mother's wound, like deep unconditional love. Like, can we be so held, like without condition, that we can like unravel and be in our full expression, whatever that is. And from that space to just be our authentic selves. Um, so for that, there's just I'm noticing the importance of like body awareness, deeper presence here within to really be aware of all that's occurring. Um, so nothing is suppressed, nothing is pushed away, nothing is denied. And through that self-awareness and getting to know ourselves and to love ourselves so fiercely, so unconditionally, that to me is one of the most revolutionary things we can really do. Self-love, this is where it all starts from. And for that, to me, I'm noticing that importance of balancing the yin and the yang, the feminine and masculine polarities, because we are really androgynous souls. Like, our soul doesn't have a gender, yet we are in these bodies, but there's got to be like a balance, a harmony of the energies that flow within, so our lives are more easeful and joyful and free. And so this is a little bit of what I'm passionate about right now, serving in a way of, definitely is asking for men, because I feel like men really need more of that support system, because there's so much women containers these days. Well, I can still do that on the side, but this is definitely a big one for me. And I also work with the herbs. I'm relaunching my herbal business, and make a few different herbal potions that help for so many different things. And that's the power of the plants, is that they're so intelligent. You can take one plant and it can work for so many different things for you, depending on what the individual needs. And so, for example, one product that I make, like one of my elixirs and tinctures, because of the mixture of the different herbs, it's got like blue lotus and lavender and mugwort and skullcap. It can help relax the nervous system. It can also help people with that have migraines or headaches. It can also help with sleep, but it can be taken during the day or during the night. So again, like the way that the plants work, they intelligently go to the places that you need nourishment and healing. And with that also though requires our own intention, our own presence and connection, which I am an advocate and really want to bring that awareness to people, that in order for us to heal anything within ourselves, yeah, we can get the support from different things, but half of the equation is our own presence, intention, and connection with what we're doing and what we're intaking, because that is the magic, that is the alchemy that then creates the needed shift, because we are the magicians, we are the alchemists, that like life is really asking us to bring more awareness, more presence, more intention to anything that we really desire. And yeah, if we desire healing, or we desire to really be more in our fuller potential of our, to feel fulfilled by life and to be in our purpose and dharma, then our attention and intention is so important, such an essential component. I guess.
For energy, chakras, or just seeing light, auras, consciousness, universal love around people or on yourself, or seeing it with your eyes shut, can you describe energy for us one way or the other, how it was when you were a child? Maybe for a little while you thought you couldn't see energy again. Do you see auras today, or are you picking up on vibes just as a person contacts you? Are you kind of getting an energetic feel on them ahead of time so you know what to do? Can you just talk about energy one way or the other?
Yes. So the way I perceive energy, for me, it's very much through clairsentience, meaning I sense, I feel it, and I feel it in my body. And I'll feel it in the different energy centers or chakras. Like I could feel a tightness for example, in my solar plexus, or I can feel pain in my heart, or I can feel all of a sudden like a lot of energy stirring up in my sacral. So I perceive it like that within my own self, that my body communicates to me of what's going on. And then when I am with another human, usually when our fields are connected, then I can start feeling, yeah, what's in their energy centers and chakras. It shows up in my own body, like I feel it. And then that's kind of like my guiding compass to maybe address certain things that they may not be necessarily aware of. Um, so yeah, I actually still yet I would love to be able to see, the light and the auras, but I also have come to really embrace that there is a certain gift here that, through the feeling and through the sensing, and that's like my way of perceiving that, yeah, I'm just really being invited to open up to even more, and really see the blessing in that, because at some point in my life it was very overwhelming to feel so much in this body, and now I can more attune and have the emotional intelligence to, like, because everything is just information, so meaning like the body is giving me an information of, and I perceive it through the chakras, literally, like I feel the different energy centers and they show up in different ways. um, and through that, that's the information then that travels, that is starting through the feeling to like give me more indications of what's going on. Or sometimes I can feel it like heaviness in my shoulders or a pain in my back, so it's mostly through the chakras, but then it can also show up of like different areas, like tightness in the neck. And then I can feel, oh, for example, this person is just carrying so much stress and heaviness on them. And so this is like a way that I perceive energy. And then I kind of go deeper into the subconscious and unconscious realms, meaning there's just so much that in general we are not aware on the surface in our conscious awareness, that we're meant to just go deeper within those realms, because just what's the Carl Jung saying? Unless we make the unconscious conscious, it will rule our life, and we'll call it fate. Meaning, like, so much of our perception of this reality comes from our subconscious, unconscious program of how we're brought up in this world, what we're being told and imprinted with. And then we kind of got to strip all these layers. Like, I see this body as this sacred vessel temple that carries all this information and imprints in our cells, into our DNA, that we're meant to, like, epigenetically, we can clear, we can reset to its purest essence. And then the more we clear in these centers, the more we like strip of what's not really ours, then what's already here is our essence. And then this vessel can become more like an open channel for the divine energy above and from the earth below. We're really these conduits of above and below, to then the more open and clear we are, the more this energy flows more freely through these channels, and the more we're in our creativity, and um, we're more in our play and innocence of what our essence wants to be in this world. So yeah, to me, it's very much feeling. Like, I feel a lot, and it feels really good actually to feel and be in the body. And even if I feel pain, I can still feel pleasure and gratitude. I can feel like the full spectrum of feeling, because I've opened up so much my perception and energy capability to sense and tune into something, and that is very much a tantric yogic way, meaning like there's no denial of anything. Like, I'm very much open and allowing for everything that is here to be felt. And through that, I feel the full spectrum, from the pain to the pleasure, gratitude, bliss, peace, like all of it. There's not just like, oh, I'm just feeling pain or I'm just feeling pleasure. It's constantly, all of it is present. But that to me is being so alive. There's just such deep aliveness to sensation, to the aliveness of of really life, of this life force energy, whatever you want to call it, moving through, that really wants to move through more freely. And it's up to us to allow for that to happen.
And you basically just covered one of your, I mean, who you are, because aren't you basically a bridge between, we'll say, Earth, universe, consciousness, and then the person? And that's describing it pretty aptly. But I did want to have you cover the boundary thing because over
Mm.
time, there's a point where some people don't even know there are boundaries and they are getting walloped, like an 18-wheeler truck hits them again and again, and they don't know they have to just set their intent, have better boundaries, keep their energy to themselves at times, only the highest intent. Talk to us about the ebb and flow of those lessons of boundaries. And then, if you don't mind, at some point, give us an example of an energy interaction with anybody, a client or just a friend, or this happened or that happened. But if you can take us through some of the emotions or the feelings or what transpired. But first, boundaries. How
Mm.
have you been doing over the last, decade plus, the ebb and the flow, and where are you today with that?
Yes, thank you for asking because that is so huge. And it's, oh goodness. So because I'm so sensitive, and you can call it empathetic, deeply, just profoundly tune in to the energy around me and within me. For example, when I was younger, it was just so much because I felt like I was a sponge. And we are kind of like that when we're kids. We don't really have any boundaries. We're sponges. We take in everything from our environment. Our parents are like gods. We just, everything that we see, we just take it in, receive, receive, receive. And we kind of grow up like that because we don't know any better. We're not taught any other way that, oh, actually, there's got to be a certain type of safety to create here, and that there's got to be almost like, yeah, like a different interaction with our external so-called environment. So for a long, long time, I just in a way, I feel like I was suppressing and numbing what I was feeling and distracting myself from it because it was just so much, because I was just, again, intaking so much of of that, whatever I was interacting with. And so the journey in a way of deeper awareness, first, meditation for me is huge. Meditation is not something to do. It's something that eventually just becomes us, meaning meditation, the more we practice it, then becomes our waking reality, which helps us to really like be in the observer perspective and watch things instead of getting so swept into the current of everything. So meditation as a tool was a huge thing for me to become more deeper aware of, again, of my own internal world. And then I feel that is really a key component, um, to be aware first here, because if we don't have the body self-awareness and the feeling and the mental state, then we won't have that same awareness for what we perceive on the external, because eventually the inner is the outer is the inner. We may hear that, but eventually that becomes a lived experience, like really, of that oneness of consciousness that kind of splits between what we the perceive and the perceiver becomes one. But it is a journey. It is a journey to first come here in this awareness, so meditation, and then breath, because breath is really also what anchors us deeper in the body. Breath is spirit, breath is life, breath is vitality. It opens us up. And so the more, I believe, I feel through my experience, we have this awareness, we start like creating this emotional intelligence, like a report between ourselves of what's going on here, what am I observing, what am I feeling. And then through, again, the self-love nourishment, which is huge, to kind of tend to these things, not suppress them, to allow them to feel really comfortable in the body. And then through that, and when we can really anchor in that space, and to me, like anchoring with the divine and opening my channels to this like greater intelligence and connecting with that as I connect with the earth, is a huge component. And then from here, as I am anchored here, like my anchoredness is within. I'm not putting my attention on something external, like, oh, I need to do something or be somebody in order to create some kind of validation for myself. Instead, oh, I'm placing the most value to be connected here with my heart, with my body, with my soul, higher self, whatever you want to call it, whatever that connection is for each person. But this is my anchor. And from there, this place, I interact with the world. So this actually can create more of a sovereignty. Like I really see it as a sovereignty bubble. Like my aura like really gets expanded and I'm like in the bubble of my own essence. And from that place, I can interact with the world and I can be more aware of what I'm perceiving. And instead of intaking, consuming from the world, I am pouring and beaming my own energy, infusing in my environment. So even if I go in a place that is kind of chaotic and just there's a rigidity, whatever, it just feels off balance, I wouldn't get overwhelmed by it because I have my anchor here. And instead, I will have that deep discernment of, oh no, I mean, this is not an energy I want to take because it just doesn't feel good. So why would I do that? So that's the loving boundary. It's like such a, I don't call it just a boundary, I call it loving boundary because it comes from a such deep love for ourselves and discernment to know that, oh, if this on the external doesn't feel good, then I create this loving boundary of no, thank you. And instead, I will still have an interaction with it, but I will be beaming my own loving, compassionate, good energy to it. And it's not coming from a place of control or manipulation. I need to control, manipulate my environment. It's more like I'm just sending what's already inside of me and just giving that in return without an agenda. But I'm also saying like a clear discernment, loving boundary of no, I'm not gonna take that in. So I feel it really it's a journey to come to this place of just again such deep self-love that we're no longer consuming anything that doesn't feel good and right and healthy for our being. And because we have this self-awareness within, then we'll have the self-awareness on the outside. But instead of being in conflict or fighting with our environment or with a person, we create this loving boundary of like, no, this doesn't feel right. So instead, I'm going to choose something different. And yeah, I see it more instead of consuming, we are creating. We get to create more of what we want to see in the world. And that could really be applied with any situation, with any person, any conflict where we get to choose from a place of all, not a victimhood. It's like an empowered state of like, okay, I'm not a victim to my environment. Instead, I have the power to be bringing into my environment what I want to see. But I'm not asking for my environment to change. And yeah, this loving boundary, I feel it's essential in discernment.
Uh,
Hope that answers your
Beautiful.
question.
And it sounds like, in a way, you're also describing cultivating awareness, one's awareness. And if that's the case, can you talk to us more about if the heart is love, unconditionality, timelessness, no limits, awareness, what else? Consciousness, and lots of other good stuff. And then this is thinking, resisting, fear, stress, worry, the usual. We all do it. Talk to us more about the flow up here, or the lack of flow, and the flow, unlove and love. And if you want to share something personal, you can abstract it, no organizations' names or anything like that. But where have you had to start all over again, hit that reset button to get back and oriented again? But can you talk to us about the difference in flows here?
Hmm. Yeah, the mind and the heart, how to bring them into coherence, because they can come into coherence, but sometimes it feels like they're in a tug of war, or at least the mind is. Um, I so often can feel these polarities because again, I have such a deep sense of feeling of what's going on in my body. So I can really feel when I'm in my thinking mind or trying to strategize or like think something about the future. I start getting so much heaviness and tightness in my brain and in my head. And then that's like my indication, and I have to like constantly navigate and come into more breath, more ease, and then bring my awareness and attention to literally to my heart and my chest or even my belly, and make that connection deeper. And the let go to bring into this awareness and meditative state to like just let go of the thoughts, let go of any agenda, let it all go. But I really feel the mind can become a great servant of the heart through training, meaning it doesn't need to be in conflict. Um, because the mind likes to be busy, likes to have something to do constantly. It feels restless if it doesn't. And that's why meditation, being in nature, being in the to unravel, to let go of the busyness can help then to just come into deeper state of heart coherence. One aspect is to bring our attention to the heart center and to literally like breathe into the heart. That helps, like, or even tap on it, like EFT tapping. We can bring, even if we're going through like some kind of hard, difficult situation or traumatic experience, like loving touch, breath, it can bring our awareness to that center to like let go of fight or flight or the mind trying to be in control and grasp. So there are definitely different tools, and I've had such a journey of constantly learning what it is like to live from my heart and not from my mind. And sometimes that's even may mean to go towards things that I fear, because fear is it's not real at all. And every time I've gone into something that I may have fear, I I come on the other side more free and more just light. Fear holds a certain heaviness, and fear usually it's a concept of the mind. There's the fear energy, but then there's like an idea of what this means. And and it's just an idea, it's just a belief, but like taking an action towards something that maybe there's like a strong heart pull, like we feel when there's just something is like pulling us to do something, and it may not make any sense to the mind. There may be resistance, there may be fear, or how am I even going to do it? Like the how is a big question. And I always say it's not about the how. Just this is not at all, because usually questions of how are questions of the mind trying to figure it out. And we cannot ever figure it out. The only way is to actually have the experience, and to, if there's like some kind of pull towards something, like just do it. I say just do it, because then you get to have the experience, and through that experience get to actually learn the truth for yourself, not the idea, the belief, or the concept that the mind has created. And then through experience over time, you get to trust more the innate wisdom of your body that gives you an indication. You get to trust what is a yes and what is a no that actually resides in your body. So to me, being in the heart is the same as being in the body, being in my belly, being in my womb, which, the belly is also the second brain, like our gut. It's our power center. It can really also indicate and tell us when there's like a contraction or an openness. And it's usually those initial first responses that we can call our intuition, we can call it our heart wisdom. Those are like the original messengers we're meant to listen to before then the mind comes and starts rationalizing and starts going again into some kind of idea or pre-existing belief. But there is this wisdom in the heart, in the body, that is can be our guiding compass moment to moment, that can tell us what is a yes, what is a no, and just to follow that. And eventually we can pick up the mind as the tool, and because we need it to maybe organize something or initiate something, or however it needs to be used. But then it's a server to the heart. It's not in conflict and tug of war. So I really had to go through so many experiences in life where some things didn't make sense. And yeah, I can give you an example of, it was in 2020, actually, in the midst of all the madness happening in the world. But at the same time, my whole life was crumbling down. My work, my relationship, the place I was living in, everything was just dissolving, and I had no idea what's next. And I was asking for guidance, which I normally like to do just in general every day. Okay, guidance for just my next step. I just need to know my next step, nothing else. And that's what I kind of been shown now for years and years. I get to be shown only my next step, and I'm not meant to know too far in the future. And I used to resist and struggle with it, and now I really embrace it, because there's something such magical existing in the great mystery of the now. So I was asking for my next step, and I was meditating, and I had brought this notebook that a girlfriend of mine had given me years ago, that I finally all of a sudden got the call to use and start writing in it. And when I opened my eyes, and all of a sudden I had this desire to look at the notebook, and there was like a little writing at the bottom that said Costa Rica with a butterfly on it. And I think it was 2 days prior that a girlfriend of mine mentioned that she's going to Costa Rica. And if I want to visit her at some point, I'm welcome to. And then I saw that writing, and I remember her telling me that. And there was just this surge of energy. I mean, even now I feel it, like goosebumps, like that just came over me. And it was just Costa Rica. It was so loud and clear. And in that moment, after that, I was like, oh, I have no idea how am I going to do it. They were just opening the borders, I think on October 1st, for people from California to travel. I had to do all these documents and paperwork at that time, because there were so many restrictions, and everything happened so quick in 2 weeks. And I barely, I had no job. I was thinking, okay, maybe I can make it there for a couple months. I don't know, and figure out after that. But I just followed this impulse, followed that surge of energy. And honestly, it was one of the best choices I ever made, because once I stepped foot in Costa Rica, it's like I returned home to my essence, and I ended up being there for 5 months, and I discovered more of my joy and more of what, yeah, brings me joy and connects me to myself, more of my authenticity. And it's almost like the life before I have had was just, well, such a little glimpse of who I was. Like there was just so much of me that I wasn't exploring in that life. And all of a sudden, this more of who I was unfolding. And I can't, so many synchronicities happened in Costa Rica. It was just such an easeful flow. I didn't have a car. I was always getting rides and moving to places and going to singing classes and dancing classes. And um, I didn't think I was going to have the money to stay there. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, that I was supported. Then I was even offered a free place. So, just an example of when we follow our heart, and even if it doesn't make sense, the universe conspires. It makes me think of, The Alchemist, one of my favorite books of, yeah, just following that call, and the universe will conspire. And that's how we know. And through experience, we really get to learn, yeah, what is the heart call and what happens when we follow it, and what is the mind and what happens when we follow that. And we learn through contrast, and we learn through trial and error, and eventually we can make the difference, feel the difference in our body, and see the difference in our experience of what it looks like on either side. And the heart's call and the heart path is the path of miracles and wonders and magic and deep connection with life and co-creation with life and synchronicities and people, and that we're so supported in the unseen and seen realms. And you work with angels, and honestly, like, I feel I meet so many people on the path, like especially when I've traveled, when I've been in these deep places of great unknown, of what am I going to do? How am I going to make it on the other side? And literally having these people that for me, they're angels on the path that get to support me and guide me and connect me with other angels. And then really creating this network of community everywhere I go, because I really step into these places with complete openness, meaning like my heart is so open to trusting that I'm at the right place. So there's no like protective mechanisms. Even my friends laugh at me all the time, like I leave my car unlocked. That's how much I trust life, is because I just feel I'm one with life. So when I'm so open to life, I constantly get to connect with people that get to be like allies on my path, that are another version of me. And it really creates this just such deep connection to life and myself and community, which then becomes just one whole me in its all infinite expressions. So to live from the heart, to me, really means to be so wide open to life, and to let go of all the protective mechanisms and defenses. And I always think of the word trust. Every time I think of trust, it literally comes in capital letters. Like, on my way is like trust. And I was told when I was 18 years old, the first ever psychic and healer I saw, that they did like tuning forks on me. They read my aura. They did Akashic records. And I'll always remember, like, when they were reading my Akashic records, they said, your greatest lesson in this lifetime is to trust. And it wasn't until years later and later that just kept coming and coming. And now it's stronger than ever. Like, I see trust in capital letters. I'm like, yes, truly it is. And And even though I feel like I've come such long ways, there's always a little more. There's always a little more to lean in, to lean into, and to open to life, to open to each experience with heart wide open, nothing to protect, nothing to defend, to know that everything is here for us. Even sometimes these painful experiences, there's on the other side, always when we reflect back, it makes so much sense that if we didn't have this experience, like if my whole life didn't fall apart, I would have not gone to Costa Rica and had this experience, which from there really changed my whole life in the last few years. That was kind of like the beginning of a new life for me. And and that's also another thing, that the learning of the impermanence and how many lifetimes within a life we can have, especially when we're living so close to this great mystery, and to allow ourselves to constantly follow the heart. It definitely feels like a constant death and rebirth, death and rebirth, and death and rebirth. And eventually we get to enjoy it. Maybe at first we may have some resistance, but eventually we see the more we birth ourselves anew, the more we fall even deeper in love with this new version of ourselves. And through that, we fall in deeper in love with life. And, and then love gets to reside and gets to amplify even more through us. And it's beautiful.
Lovely. And I love The Alchemist. All of us can trust that we can learn, or learn to trust that we can change the direction of the desert winds. But with that, I'm going to have you search your memory, and we'll do some stuff before you answer on this. What would be that one time you had a sparkly-eyed stranger, a situation that there is no other explanation but direct universal interference, or a cool moment with again, something happened. It was probably an angel. But first, I'm going to light some sage. It's a staple of the show. If you've never watched the show before, definitely subscribe, like, comment, share. Emojis count. We've had over 500,000 visitors, 515,000 channel visits. People are super shy. I can't imagine why. I'm going to light some sage regardless. And if it's Tokyo, Japan, Christchurch, you're somewhere, Bora Bora, you're seeing this, it's 2035, way in the future. We've got millions of views on this video, and Mila is doing even more from the heart. You can catch sage. And why settle for just sage? Catch flowers. What else should I say? Catch Bora Bora, not boring, or Hawaii in the air as well. What are you going to allow for? That's the rub. That's the opportunity for growth. Okay, so I'm lighting some sage. What's that mean? Catch sage? Just set your intent. Tell the universe, or ask the universe to help you get you out of your head into your heart. You're in California. I'm in Texas. Mila, are you already getting the sage strongly?
I'm getting it. It's coming.
And I didn't do it, but if you could ask for one of those flowers that you hadn't had in a long time from India, or it's a botanical of some sort that you really revere or respect, what are you getting at that level?
I don't know, for some reason, rosemary is coming my way.
I love it. And then if you want ocean, it could be Costa Rica, but it could be even more, it could be what's on the path ahead. Seychelles, Mykonos, somewhere. Have that come to you as well. And if you don't mind sharing what the ocean is, you might get the sound effects or the palm fronds rubbing. People can do that at home, but if you have to rub your hands or shake your hands in the air to like loosen up more, let your body do the listening. I think Mila would tell us that. What are
Mm.
you getting for ocean?
Well, actually, I am getting Costa Rica because it's been a couple years, and I'm really feeling the call again to return there. So I'm seeing a spot in Costa Rica that I remember and love.
Yay. But now you're on the hook. You owe us a shared something where that funky stranger, he helped with the flat tire. You were just in the shop and they said something and you were like, oh my gosh, that's the answer I've been looking for a whole week.
Gosh, it's a tough one. I feel like this. There's so many moments in life and in time. It's kind of traveling back in time. It's like, okay, what wants to come through right now? Because again, I feel I have, yeah, angels all the time. And I've had plenty of flat tires and being supported on the
Oh,
way back
geez.
away.
That's
Yeah, and
awesome.
that's the thing. That's part of, like every time something like that happens to me, it's like there's no sense of worry. Like I really just like, oh. And then I always like see the symbol. I'm like, okay, why? I read symbols in everything. I'm like, okay, why am I having a flat tire? What side of the car is it? Is it on my the right masculine or the left the feminine? What is it telling me? Do I need to slow down, be more present? Like, where am I like overdoing something or, anyway, like this is how kind of
Here,
it
I'll
comes.
buy time in case there is one of the sparkly-eyed stranger stories, whether they were fixing your flat or not. We have had those on the show, by the way. Well, it was in St. Thomas. We had an amazing healer with India training under Sri Kaleshwar when he was alive. But her car overheated, and she knows everybody on the island. She's been there a long time. Two strangers came along. We found out later one was an angel and one was Sri Shirdi Sai Baba in human form. And they took care of her radiator cap, and we do not advise this at home. They did not use any protection. It was super hot. They didn't get burned. They did all sorts of stuff where she was like, what is going on? They took her to a nearby home to kind of park her until the rest of the stuff could take place. And then they left her there. It was a safe place. She knew the house. But that's in her Vazi Therese Rose Lopez's show if people want to look her up. I'm going to put up construction paper, black. Yes, we're not just using this and showing a black piece of paper, but blue sky would be great too. I don't have that handy right now. I'm going to show my energy. You don't have to show yours, but you get to see light. And I know you feel it massively. That is the super strength here. But in your heart, you see with your heart, and all of you, you can get this done. Just say what color you see out loud. But if you'll ask the universe for a little extra, you might get that rose or a flower or some sort of a shape that's not my energy. And then you'll get a little magic reminder about which angel or which situation to remember. Give yourself permission to let go. Everyone gets a dad joke. Where in a hospital is the worst place to play hide and seek? Where? In the ICU. And just see a stream of light between my two fingers. Is it white, gold, green, yellow? If it's all the colors, rainbow light, stop or hit pause and run out and buy a lotto ticket. Okay, Mila, what are you seeing for light between my fingers? Is it gold and green? What do you see?
Oh, kind of changing it on. Oh wow, hold on. I actually see it's light blue.
Perfect. And then if you don't mind, breathe extra and do the Mila thing. Breathe, be in your body, ask the universe to deliver extra sparks, flowers. Two people got phoenixes, ask for something very significant. You don't have to say what it is, just say got it from the universe. But if you do want to share it, great. It'll be an extra thing of light that's added that isn't my light. Angels, universe are making it for you. Any sparks, any vortexes, any flowers, any this, any that? What are you getting?
The blue is kind of turning into this little birdie. Okay.
Oh, good. Perfect. That's a great answer. Yay. And that was a lot, but anyone can do it at home, play it over. If you have to go for a run, hug the dog, take a shower. If you have a pool or an ocean, just go jump in it, pure instant letting go. Do it with clothes on. Okay. You'll be shocked. Now, did you get your stranger story yet? Do you have one sparkly eyed something? A little old lady, a little old man.
Um, I mean, I don't know. There's one moment that was flashing, and I can remember I was in between travels, going somewhere. I can't remember where. And there was just a synchronicity of I think we met on the plane, and then after that, I think we're sitting next to each other. Oh, actually, okay. There's another one. There's another one. There's so many.
Good. There we are.
Well, there's that one, and then we ended up going to a cafe, and she ordered this incredible cake. I'm big on sweets, and we were in this magical cafe, and we just connected so deeply. And I felt like I was going through a big transition, and it was just this. It felt like an angel, just like here. have your cake and eat it and connect with my, myself. So that was really sweet. But yeah, there's so many, like
And you had one
completely
other.
that
Well,
I'll
we'll
never
take the
see them
time for
again.
the other one too. What was the other one?
And the other one again was on a plane, and he was sitting next to me, and he was reading a book. I think it's Peter Junov. It was actually this spiritual teacher in Bulgaria, where I'm from, and it was like the White Brotherhood, and so the guy was reading this book, and so I got to see the book, and then we got to connect about Bulgaria and my roots. And again, it was just one of those moments of just deeper heart connection. That to me, they're just so special. Some people that you may never see, but they sparkle something in you that just connects you deeper with yourself. I think it's so beautiful.
Are you ready for one angel? I'll put up Joy. Although you can have an ocean angel after that if you want, but just she'll give you a reminder of something to talk about or get a private answer first, get a hug, get whatever you want. This is a photograph, but it's more interdimensional, and I'll block me out of the way. Catch what you can catch, but if you want pink sparkles or flecks of light all around you, and you go, ooh, live on air, whoops, I'm bad. But you won't have to vacuum tonight. It's made out of light, and anyone can do it at home. You kind of have to go Disney or 5 years old when you were really allowing 24/7. And so that's my tip for people at home. And I'll tell one more dad joke. What's the only flower found on the human face? Tulips. Okay, what's Joy got for you? Is she bringing you any sense of smell, or is she bringing you to your favorite nature spot? Is it a waterfall, a river, a mountain, a jungle, a desert, a certain memory? And there's definitely a reminder in there for you of something, and whatever you can share out loud would be wonderful.
Hmm. I just remember when I was little and fireflies and being out playing and seeing fireflies and catching them and seeing their green, glistening nature. I love fireflies. They're like little fairies to me.
And I will have Tinkerbell for you and Ginger in just a second, two fairies, and I'll have photos of them, real photos. But I'm going to try to share one quick thing for 20 seconds that I've never shared on 210 plus episodes. When my cat Macy passed, an orange tiger striped kitty cat, I was crushed. And so there was one night in April in Austin, Texas, which is not firefly time at all, but I'm oblivious to that. I thought they were real fireflies. I was at the window in my house and I'm yelling, "Oh my God, there are fireflies all over the yard, like going off." And it was
Mhm.
really angels and fairies making fireflies for me to cheer me up. And so the person in the house did not have the heart to tell me that it's not firefly season. And so they didn't tell me till on the trail walking or running months later that it was really just angels trying to, a little tiramisu, a little pick me up. And then it happened again, and that household person got to join in. The first time it was just for me. It happened again a second time. I was pretty crushed about the kitty cat. So I got to see fireflies again. So I've never suggested this, but if you want to get a firefly streak in a house and you know it's not going to be real, or you got to be more realistic about it, it's tonight, right at dusk. See a firefly. It doesn't matter what your surroundings are. You can still get fireflies anytime you want. I had to diverge just a little. Are you ready for a fairy named Ginger? And then I'll do Tinkerbell. I don't think I've ever put Tinkerbell. Okay,
She's my girl.
here's Ginger. She's Silverlight, and she's a little more mature. She's 1 year older, like 14 instead of 13 than than Tink. But there's Ginger, and go ahead and get a private answer. Let me try to hold this steady. Get a private answer for anything. Feel a whoosh. If you want to close your eyes, she'll whir up by an earring, give you a tug, give you a kiss on the cheek, give you some sort of a flyby musical sound, bells, laughter, singing, breathe through the mouth, turn up the volume. And just this one, if you don't mind sharing how she interacted with you. She might touch you on the nose. No one's ever gotten that.
She actually came and did a swirl around my third eye.
Oh, awesome. Okay. And then as soon as you said, I think you said Tinkerbell earlier, I wasn't imagining it. I wrote that down. I was like, wait a second. It took me 6 months to get over Tinkerbell existing. She chose two words for her photo, merriment. merriment and something, assistance. But here's
Mm,
Tink, a side profile view. And it
mm,
really doesn't come out that great on three screens, but I think you can kind of make it out. And she's rainbow flecks of light. So any which way you want to interact, she might just have a reminder for us.
mm,
What are you getting from Tink?
mm. Like next to my ear, she came and she said, "You are magical."
See? Yay. Okay. Let's do something not so serious, but serious. I'm going to just read a couple quotes to you. I'll do four. You get to choose which one and how you want to react and what it sparks within you. One is from Archangel Uriel. If more people would listen, less conflict would result in any given situation.
Mm,
Mary said, ego is blocking love. Winnie the Pooh, I'll do two quotes from Winnie the Pooh. Piglet asks Winnie the Pooh, how do you spell love? And Winnie the Pooh says, you don't spell it, you feel it. And the
mm,
last one is Winnie the Pooh talks about the following. Everyone talks to animals. No one listens. That's the problem. And I would add, that's the opportunity for us all in the journey in life. Which one resonated the most, and which one does Mila want to run with for just a second?
mm. I mean, I do love the last one because of the listening. To me, it's so much about the listening, and that's I I feel this is when I'm so fully tapped in with life is when I'm listening, and it is a lot around even like seeing the signs of nature and different animals like a crow or a raven or a fox, or I see animals all the time. The listening with the plants, the listening of myself, the listening to even music. It's in the listening for me, the listening that just connects me to my heart, connects me to life.
And let me see if I've got any other. Oh, I do. I have to remember how to do this. Okay. Do you mind just picking your favorite angels or asking the whole crew right now? But do something kumbaya and cliche. If you don't mind putting your hands out in some sort of sacred way, there's a million ways to do it. I'm not looking. But why don't you ask the universe just to bring you flowers, a scent? No one's lighting anything, a sacred herbal scent. If you want Native American tobacco, sweetgrass, juniper, this is the very last interactive thing, unless we put our hands up and do a direct connection, which we'll figure out. But this is the very last act this way. Ask them to bring you a gentle fragrance coming in, a breeze with flowers on it. It'll have to be the patented Mila Todorova way of receiving. And folks at home, remember, breathe through the mouth, 1 millimeter open. I got to remind everybody once a minute, no big deal. But if you don't ask, what is it? Allow, ask, and receive. If you don't ask, you don't get. That's such a great reminder.
Mm. Mm.
And what'd you get?
Well, I actually got a Mary Magdalene and a huge bouquet of roses, the biggest probably ever in front of me. And yeah, the Sun of Roses, which is so much the heart, the
Oh,
divine love scent. Yeah.
well, that was pretty big. I think that'll cap out our interactive stuff. Why don't we do this? Why don't we have you just think of a couple last reminders for us all? I'll put out a few keywords. One quote from, I can't remember who, Archangel Michael, positivity is abundance, but I'll give you a bunch of other words that are all kind of the keywords out there today. Acceptance, acknowledgement, attention, allowing, attitude, awareness, abundance, angels, love, kindness, compassion. What else? Gratitude, allowing all, and then we'll go really complex. Opening, openness. Which one or two of those words would you love to run with to close us out?
Well, you really caught my attention with the Archangel Michael's
Ooh,
quote. So,
positivity is abundance.
oh, it is positivity. It's
Would
so
you?
interesting.
Yeah.
I heard, which I thought it was so interesting. I heard passivity is a
Ooh.
balance, and I kind of saw it as like, oh, when we're passive, meaning like, but there's like a negative quotation around being passive. But in that moment when I heard passivity, I just imagined
When
that,
you get rid of this and sit
yeah,
here is when everything a lot you
uh-huh.
okay, well that's it. Talk to us more about the letting go.
letting go, surrender, and flow. Those are my like three mantra words. Let go, surrender, flow. It's, I think that's the state of beingness. That is to be a human being.
Yeah. Let's ask you this. If you had to make a prediction, this is going against what you talked about earlier. You're looking into the future. I will put up three angels for this. What is it door number one, door number two, door number three for the most likely answer for the following? A book from you. Is it going to be a book on boundaries? Is it going to be a book on flowers? Is it a book on slowing down, daily living? I'll put up, and you don't have to share anything out loud. Is it about appreciation? Is it what you just talked about, being in your heart? Here's three angels. If you don't mind closing your eyes and have them vibing you out, a symphony of light coming in. Only you can have them give you what you can publicly release, what will percolate around for a while. But give us a primer, a preview of what may be ahead that you might want to share more with us on down the road, or it just becomes seminar workshops that it gets crazy. I have to like get permission from your assistant to book you on the show on the road because you're like I don't know, you're the positivity person, you're the gratitude person. What's your potential book all about down the road?
Well, this was amazing because this title came right away. It said The Gift of Being You. And I
Ooh.
don't know if that's gonna be the title or not, but yeah, there's so much to that, which right away I just
And that can be the subheading too, the second title of the actual title as well.
this to be just
Here's the cover, but you're not telling anybody anymore. You gave us plenty. So now
okay.
it's a secret project now, an X. But close your eyes and have her show you the cover. But have her cheat and give you the answer to the final question you're being asked before we close it out. The final question is a mantra to share with us, or a reminder daily that if you say it, you'll be it. And Joy will whisper one to you in case you need a little. Breathe, breathe, breathe. No try Yoda. I'm going to do Yoda's voice just to make people laugh. But if you could close your eyes and let go like she is, breathe through the mouth a little to turn up the volume. Everything will get more intense. You'll be in your body more. And here's Yoda's voice. Do not. There is no try. But Archangel Gabriel said, always try. And they're both right. This isn't about right or wrong. It's proper understanding, as Angel said, at one level. And then it's beyond words. It always is. And I think Mila has been telling us the whole show, go beyond society, go beyond the words, go beyond what you think. Get to here, and that's when the fun begins. Loving more, allowing more, show love always. That was my conclusion to the show. Mila's coming back and sharing a quick mantra or reminder for better, smoother walking your path in life. What's your final reminder for us all?
It's just very simple. I am love.
I like it. Mila Todorova, thank you for being on Angels, Positivity and Love. You rocked it.
Thank you so much. That was fun.